Verses 11 to 14. He called for some of that which they had caught, and they produced it. v. 10, 11. Observe here the command Christ gave them to bring their draught of fish to shore. Bring of the fish hither, which you have now caught, and let us have some of them, not as if he needed it, and could not make up a dinner for them without it, but he would have them eat the labor of their hands. PS 128:2. What is got by God's blessing on our own industry and honest labor, if withal God give us power to eat of it, and enjoy good in our labor, hath a peculiar sweetness in it. It is said of the slothful man that he roasteth not that which he took in hunting, he cannot find in his heart to dress what he has been at the pains to take. Prov 12:27. But Christ would hereby teach us to use what we have. He would have them taste the gifts of his miraculous bounty, that they might be witnesses both of his power and of his goodness. The benefits Christ bestows upon us are not to be buried and laid up, but to be used and laid out. He would give a specimen of the spiritual entertainment he has for all believers, which, in this respect, is most free and familiar, that he sups with them, and they with him, their graces are pleasing to him, and his comforts are so to them, what he works in them he accepts from them. Ministers, who are fishers of men, must bring all they catch to their master, for on him their success depends. Their obedience to this command, v. 11. It was said, v. 6, they were not able to draw the net to shore, for the multitude of fishes, that is, they found it difficult. It was more than they could well do, but he that bade them bring it to shore made it easy. Thus the fishers of men, when they have enclosed souls in the gospel net, cannot bring them to shore, cannot carry on and complete the good work begun, without the continued influence of the divine grace. If he that helped us to catch them, when without his help we should have caught nothing, do not help us to keep them, and draw them to land, by building them up in their most holy faith, we shall lose them at last. 1 Cor 3:7. Observe who it was that was most active in landing the fishes. It was Peter, who, as in the former instance, v. 7, had shown a more zealous affection to his master's person than any of them, so in this he showed a more ready obedience to his master's command. But all that are faithful are not alike forward. The number of the fishes that were caught. They had the curiosity to count them, and perhaps it was in order to the making of a dividend. They were in all 153, and all great fishes. These were many more than they needed for their present supply, but they might sell them, and the money would serve to bear their charges back to Jerusalem, whither they were shortly to return. A further instance of Christ's care of them, to increase both the miracle and the mercy, for all there were so many, and great fishes too, yet was not the net broken, so that they lost none of their fish, nor damaged their net. It was said, Lu 5:6, their net broke. Perhaps this was a borrowed net, for they had long since left their own, and, if so, Christ would teach us to take care of what we have borrowed, as much as if it were our own. It was well that their net did not break, for they had not now the leisure they had formerly had to mend their nets. The net of the gospel has enclosed multitudes, 3,000 in one day, and yet is not broken. It is still as mighty as ever to bring souls to God. He invited them to dinner, observing them to keep their distance and that they were afraid to ask him, "Who art thou?" Because they knew it was their Lord, he called to them very familiarly, "Come, and dine." See here how free Christ was with his disciples. He treated them as friends. He did not say, "Come and wait, come and attend me," but "Come and dine," not, "Go dine by yourselves," as servants are appointed to do, but "Come and dine with me." This kind invitation may be alluded to illustrate the call Christ gives his disciples into communion with him in grace here. All things are now ready, come and dine. Christ is a feast, come, dine upon him. His flesh is meat indeed, his blood drink indeed. Christ is a friend, come, dine with him, he will bid you welcome. Cant 5:1. The call he will give into the fruition of him in glory hereafter, come, ye blessed of my Father, come, and sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Christ has wherewithal to dine all his friends and followers, there is room and provision enough for them all. See how reverent the disciples were before Christ. They were somewhat shy of using the freedom he invited them to, and, by his courting them to their meat, it should seem that they stood pausing. Being to eat with a ruler, such a ruler, they consider diligently what is before them. None of them durst ask him, "Who art thou?" either, because they would not be so bold with him. Though perhaps he appeared now in something of a disguise at first, as to the two disciples when their eyes were holden that they should not know him, yet they had very good reason to think it was he, and could be no other. Or, because they would not so far betray their own folly. When he had given them this instance of his power and goodness, they must be stupid indeed if they questioned whether it was he or no. When God, in his providence, has given us sensible proofs of his care for our bodies, and has given us, in his grace, manifest proofs of his goodwill to our souls, and good work upon them, we should be ashamed of our distrusts, and not dare to question that which he has left us no room to question. Groundless doubts must be stifled, and not started.